how people react. Like, anyway, don't quote me on those. I'm just throwing, what we need here is like innovative land use planning. That's my point. It's important, and we need to give like good price signals. What if we just have like different ways of show the health benefit? Because, for example, if we are driving, we are not walking, but I felt like when I walk, that day seems better. I can sleep better at night. I can do like no stress, those kind of things. We need to start like putting those kind of things into context, and these kind of information can help us to understand like what group we should be targeting on and what ways, those kind of things. And we also need to change our mindset, because we need to start preparing ourselves for different for different kinds of world. Unless there is a technological revolution like electric car or those kind of things being very cheap, it will be hard driving all the time. And the second thing is the commute time. The total, let's start calculating how many hours you are spending on a car if you live outside, and how much benefit you actually get. So lifestyle choices is important too. Like we think like, we just did one recent study, like why people move their house from one place to another, and there were 7 reasons, like closer to transit, closer to work, neighborhood quality, dwelling quality, and you will amaze, like no one, like the majority of people choose their place of residence based on neighborhood quality and dwelling time and dwelling quality. I was not surprised. That's what people do. I did the same thing, and maybe all you guys have done, or your parents, or those kind of things. So that means driving or distance or accessibility is not costly enough to compete with the attributes of attributes of your home as well as your neighbor. So probably there is no cost associated with that. So the price signals, right? Like I really like this person. Like he does always like tell this, like the price signals is not probably right. Price setting is important. In central London, for example, now we have this congestion pricing by zone. Right? So there is some mechanism, like we need some sort of mechanism if we really truly want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, if we really want to reduce travel time, and also give some people to live somewhere else, so that it's a balanced way. It's not possible to bring everyone in transit, or it shouldn't. Like then that will be a chaos as well. So what do we need? A balanced approach, and to do those kind of things, we probably need to understand these kind of data, collect these kind of data, so the implications. So I think we have already talked about some radical implications, but theoretical implications are more 3 broad areas, 3 meta issues that we call urban transportation planning: sustainability, efficiency, and equity. And of course, sustainability, as you can understand, and reducing environmental footprint, those kind of things. Efficiency, efficient traffic flows. Is it time up? What's the time right now?
10:45.
Okay. So efficiency and equity. Environmental justice, like becoming a more and more important issue, and we are not different in this way as well. So we need to price like in a right way. We need to reward people who are living closer, who are walking. We need to penalize the other sets of like people, and have some sustainable behavior. We need to reduce our auto usage in a very big way. And what we have seen from the paper, also the paper I was referring to, Miller and Shalaby, and Amar Shalaby. Amar Shalaby is a public transportation professor. So that paper also shows these kind of trends. So this is the summary of the trends from that Toronto survey. So we are seeing increasing auto ownership, increasing per person trips, increasing urbanization of population and employment. In Halifax, the second point is more important. We are suburbanizing our employment, which is scary. At least in Toronto, we have a centralized downtown area. So there are some other pockets of employment center, but they maintain a vibrant downtown. So all the urban design stuff that you hear in other classes, you know, those all have these transportation planning issues. Because we need a vibrant downtown, not just to have a vibrant life or culture, it's for transportation, and it's important, very important thing to have common destinations. Increasing complex travel behavior, I haven't discussed that here quite in a big way. Previously, the trip chains, like from one place to another, this trip chains was like simple, like you go work, do this kind of things. Now, at least the last 20-30 years, like it's becoming more complex. Dropping kids, the schedules are becoming more and more busy for people. Both people, dual earner households are increasing, so you have those scheduling conflicts. So this is becoming complex, as well as it's becoming complex with these cell phone uses. Because now people make many decisions quick, they are communicating faster, they are probably making more trips, I don't know, or maybe less trips. Like we have to, this is one interesting area I might be exploring in a very near future. Like what is the impact of this kind of constant communication, the texting, or those kind of things, whether we are making more trips or we are making less trips, where we go, how many people, who are we accompanying with. Like we need to understand whether it's reducing trips, what is the environmental impact of this kind of communication. Is it good, is it bad? Like it is reducing greenhouse gas emission, maybe you are having some tips with you from your friends about the class, so you don't need to go to their home to have a group discussion. Maybe you are doing some kinds of FaceTime in iPhone, and you are reducing your need for trips, so we don't know. That's a very important area. But what I'm meaning is, this is an old study, but I'm just infusing my ideas of this study. Like these things are becoming complex, and we need more complex types of data. We are not just only need this travel behavior data, we need to know this kind of communication, like your Twitter, Facebook status, like how these things are influencing on your travel behavior. These are important. Maybe these can help us in reducing many of our trip requirements. Okay, maybe online shopping has a very big impact in terms of going to the stores, like reducing freight transportation. That's a big area we probably will not touch in this class. Freight transportation, goods movement. We'll be mainly talking about passenger transportation in this class because that's the focus of this introductory class. But freight transportation, that's another big area to be worried about. I'll make some references in various occasions, but that's important too. So e-shopping, the Amazon is becoming kind of a giant in terms of being competing with Walmart or other physical entity stores. Maybe these things have a very, very big impact. Maybe this should be our solution. Maybe we don't need to think about bringing all the people closer to the city center. So we need to give a really, really fuller look into different kinds of possibilities to do these kind of things. And we are also seeing more non-work school trips. Work trips was the main area we always was concerned about as a transportation planners, but we are now more and more concerned about these non-work trips. Non-work means shopping, entertainment, going to a meeting with the friends, those kind of things. There are some ways of categorizing trips, like by purpose. One is like home trips. We'll be talking about that in one of our class. But maybe from those graphs you can also see this trip purpose. So work trips is the major trip. Non-work, we have broadly defined this kind of shopping trips, like the personal trips, medical appointments. So what's happening from this trend, it looks like it's more non-work and school trip, more non-home-based trips. So home-based trips means origin is home. As I was telling you, OD is very important, origin and destination. So origin home, that's home-based trips. So what we are seeing that now there are more and more non-home-based trips. So the more non-home-based trips that you have, the more probably you need a car. Because if you have multiple trips in a given day, right, unless you have car shares, that's why car share, bike share, or other ways, like if you're taking a transit and you need other trips in a given week, day or daytime, you need other ways, means of traveling. So as a planner, we need to really understand these kind of things. More non-home based, more non-peak period travel, and declining transit mode share. We have extensively discussed about that. Any other question, discussions? Do you have any other questions about the lecture? No? Let's discuss it quickly. I'll finish it since I haven't given any break today. Probably I'll finish the conference. Is that okay? Do you need a break or? Okay. Okay. So I will finish it, Ali. So let's think about, like, given what I have talked today about these trends, travel behavior, what kind of solutions that we can think of to enhance sustainability, efficiency, and equity for the society? Let's think about what kind of things we can do. Just give your ideas. Just like this is just a discussion.
Parking restrictions?
Parking restrictions. Yes, we can review our parking strategies.
Awareness programs?
Awareness programs about more sustainable use of transit or sustainable modes.
I also read something that talked about the fact that traditional or conventional modes of thinking about transportation is more like in a serial way. As new transport modes appear, like people forget about the old ones. But then the more sustainable way of thinking about transportation would mean that all other modes of transportation should be like thought of at the same time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they should be given, equal priority at one point in time. They
Right.
should be.
So we should learn from the history. We should keep those kind of things